The update is live. The Brotherhood is in the game with their full kit, so we are going to break it down. How will they do against the meta shield team? Let's smash it.
Valley Flyer.
Hey, what's up all you Valley Maniacs? Valley Flying here. I am back. Welcome to the channel. And as you can see, the Brotherhood is fully in the game now. Now, you can't farm all of them yet. And two of them you can only farm if you spend a bunch of money right now. But they are all in the game, which means we can see their full kits and do a little theory crafting, one of my favorite things to do, and see how good on paper they will be against the shield team. So we're going to take a look at that. I want to take a look at their skills. We'll talk about that of the 3 new characters at least, and then we'll do kind of a turn order and see what would happen on turn 1 against many different teams. Especially that shield team. They're going before everyone. It is a crazy first turn for these guys. All right, so before we get into that, I do want to remind you guys I'm playing on BlueStacks 4. It is my emulator of choice on the PC. If you want to download it, there's a free link down below. It is also an affiliate link, so you can help out the channel and get BlueStacks 4 to emulate on your PC as well. All right, so let's go take a look at their kits. Going over to msf.gg where we take a look at Magneto's kit.
You happy with that? Because that seemed weird.
She has tags there: Villain, Global, Bio, Controller, Mutant, and Brotherhood. Yes, he has a lot of them. All right, so let's take a look at his basic first. Magnetic Force attack, primary target for 220% damage, plus 20% piercing, chain to 1 to 2 additional targets for 190% damage, 20% piercing. All right, so he's doing some damage. He's getting a little chain. Very okay basic. I think you're going to want him for these next 2 moves, though. This is where it really belongs. And obviously, these icons are just placeholders until everything gets fully updated on the site. Polarized Beam, attack primary target for 240% damage, 20% piercing, apply disrupted, which is a new debuff, meaning that no buffs can be applied to that character. Ooh, it's a big screw you to the shield. It applies disrupted for 2 turns, applying slow for 2 turns, and removing all positive effects. Available on turn 1. This is unavoidable. Very, very strong attack. Probably want to save it for turn 2, but man, this is very strong. This is what you probably want to use for turn 1, and like I said, he is going before every single character in this game. All right, Magnetic Vortex. Pulling all enemies 2 spaces towards the primary target, then attack primary target and adjacent targets for 240% damage plus apply blind. This attack is unavoidable and cannot be counter-attacked. Now, the only issue I would see is if you're facing Drax, because he has that pre-taunt before the battle even begins. So you're going to attack Drax where he is, and you won't get this effect. Let's go over to Photoshop so I can show you kind of what happened here. All right, so we take a look at the main team right here. This is how the battle starts off. You start with 3 in the front, 2 in the back. 1 is adjacent to 2, 2 is adjacent to 3, 3 is adjacent to 4, and 4 is adjacent to 5. This is how the main battle starts. When we take minions into account, or some alternate spaces, this is the 10 spaces for battle. It seems a little different in the raids, but this is how it is. And then everybody, and then as far as the adjacency, it looks like this. Gets a little complicated. I made a video on it. You guys can check that out if you want a full explanation. But basically, when we take a look at this team right here, we're going from this team to something that I think would look like this. I think when you look at this team right here again with the minions, I think 5 will shift over to D's spot and 1 will shift over to B. I think that is how it's going to work. Obviously, we cannot test it with no test server and nobody really having Magneto yet. So I think what it's going to end up looking like is this right here. Let me take off everybody. And it's just going to shift over. So the adjacency will look like this. 3 is going to be adjacent to everybody. 5 is going to be adjacent to 5. And 5 is going to be adjacent to 3, excuse me, and 4. 1 is going to be adjacent to 1 and 3, 1 and 2. 2 will be adjacent to 1 and 3, and 4 will adjacent to 3 and 5. And that's kind of how it is if you attack the center target. Now, obviously, if you have Drax on here, it's going to look a little different. But keep in mind with Magneto that if you attack that center target, everybody will be adjacent to that center target. and these side targets will be adjacent to 2 targets instead of 1 if this is how it works. Again, this is all assuming how it's going to work. But yeah, looking very strong with this move right here. And then Brotherhood of the Mutants. This is why he goes first on spawn, filling his speed bar by 15%. So out of that 1,000 ticks that speed bar needs, he has 150 off the bat. If you have a full Brotherhood team, he's getting 15% speed bar per Brotherhood ally, which is either 75% full or 90% full. I am not sure if he is also counted as a Brotherhood ally, meaning he gets 30% off, but it doesn't seem right. So I think it's 75%, but either way, either number, he is going first, and that is what is important. If he crits, he's giving speed up to all the Brotherhood allies, very strong because they are kind of slow. And he's getting some extra focus to apply those blinds or those disrupted or those slows. Yeah. Brotherhood allies get extra focus as well, and he's getting extra health. Brotherhood allies get extra health. Very, very strong for this Brotherhood team. He makes these guys a lot better on their own. Even with 4 Brotherhood allies, they just don't seem as good. Let's go to the next new character, which is Juggernaut.
Oh, thank God. Oh, my God! Juggernaut!
Some people have him unlocked already. I fought him in Blitz earlier, recorded that fight, so I might release that footage, or I might just buy him. I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted to buy him. I know it's way overpriced, but I think he just looks cool. Juggernaut was one of my most anticipated characters. All right, let's take a look at his kit. Overwhelming blow, attack primary target for 290% damage, gain 1 charge up to a maximum of 4, gains ability energy. This is huge because he has such huge cooldowns. 7-turn cooldown and then a 8-turn cooldown. Starts with 6. Starts with this off the bat, but yeah, he needs this as often as possible. It cannot be blocked. So this is kind of a screw you to Captain America or a Shield Security or anybody else that blocks that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. Now, this is probably what you would use with him on turn 1. Immovable object. Yeah, you probably wouldn't go with the basic. He's getting, at max level, he's getting taunt, defense up for 2 turns. Huge. If Magneto is an ally, he's getting taunt for 2 turns. That is also huge. He's also getting immunity. Now, immunity means that you cannot debuff him. He's getting death proof. Means you can't kill him in 1 shot. You have to do it in 2 shots if you get his health low enough. And he gets 2 regenerate, which means he gets a little bit of health back. Now, because of that taunt, he's going to get attacked a lot. Let me jump ahead to his passive. If he is attacked, anytime when Magneto's an ally, he will get his speed bar filled by 20%. So very, very slow character, but kind of overcoming it with this attack and getting his speed bar filled up a little more. And he's also getting a little extra health, little extra resistance, and he most likely cannot be stunned unless you get someone with a super high amount of focus. All right, so and then let's talk about these charges because yeah, this next move can get very crazy with a lot of charges, but there's a max of 4. So they're limiting this. They don't want him to be as crazy as Storm. I mean, you could really ramp up that damage with Storm if you give her enough charges, but he's attacking the primary and adjacent targets for 380% damage. If you are using Magneto by turn 2, they may or may not be dead at that point, but this may or may not work how you want it, but his damage is going to be increased because everybody might not be adjacent, but his damage is getting increased by 80% per charge. It could go up to 4, so an extra 320% damage. That brings it up to 400, 700 damage total. Big attack for the primary and adjacent targets. Now, this is the kicker, though. You can't store it up like Storm. On spawn, clear all but 1 stack of charged. If any charge were cleared, fill speed bar by 40%. Now, when I'm going to do the first turn analysis, I'm not going to really take this into account because Juggernaut actually could be going first if you're doing something like the Raids or Dark Dimension where he could have a bunch of charges stored up and not used and just getting a bunch of speed in return for that. All right, let's look at the other new character, Pyro.
You know all those dangerous mutants you hear about on the news? I'm the worst one.
He looks pretty strong, a little underwhelming at first until you really dive deep into his kit. Basic. Attacking primary target and adjacent targets for 150% damage and applying bleed to each target. So again, if you are attacking, this is attacking all the adjacent targets, not a chain. So everybody should be getting bleed if he's going after Magneto. I think it'll be Magneto, then Mystique, and then Sabretooth and Pyro. So, you know, until we get this full team, it's all theory crafting at this point. But looks to be pretty strong. Another skill that attacked the primary and adjacent targets, 180% damage. So not too overwhelming with his damage. But he's applying 2 bleeds for 2 turns, which could be some huge damage. And then he's clearing 2 positive effects off of each target. If Magneto is an ally, clear all positive effects from each target at max level. Strong skill. You're probably opening with this one. Fire crafting. It starts on a you get 4 ability energy on a 6-turn cooldown, so you could do this after a couple turns. Attack primary target and adjacent targets for 230% damage. So starting off the same as all of his moves. Now, this one has the highest percentage of all of them. And applying Disrupted for 2 turns. And again, Disrupted just means that you cannot apply any buffs to that character if they have Disrupted. If Magneto is an ally, each target has bleed prolonged by 1. Now, because this skill doesn't list the bleed, I'm not sure what this is referring to. If it's just all the bleeds that are already on there, you're just prolonging it, or if there's some kind of mislabeling in it. But he's supposed to be having a blitz soon. We'll see. I think what it is each bleed that's already on there. All right, so I'm probably using after the couple turns. He needs some focus as well, so he's getting some extra focus when you level this up to max. When he's attacked, you're also filling the speed bar, so he's not that fast of a character, but, you know, kind of like Juggernaut, he's making up for it when he gets attacked. And if Magneto is an ally, when an enemy drops below 50%, apply heal block. So this one is a little tricky, because if Magneto is on the field and Pyro is on the field, anyone they're facing, when they drop below 50%, you can't heal them. This is not a nice one. This is a little nasty right here. Pyro and Magneto teaming up, not looking too good. All right, so let's take a look at their speed and how it bases against shield. All right, so Magneto, he has a speed of 90, but on his first turn, because he's getting all that bonus speed, if you fill him up in a full Brotherhood team, 2.7 ticks to get to his first turn. That is faster than anybody in the game. Korath's going to take 5.8, Loki's 7.3, and then Operative, who's the fastest shield character, is at 5.7. So Magneto is going before everybody. He's getting everybody adjacent and probably applying blind to them. Again, Drax is a little tricky situation with Magneto's skill. But then you got Mystique going. So let's take a look at her kit. And you probably would want to use Shapeshifter most of the time, although Infiltrate can be good against maybe a Black Widow team, which will be going before her. But she will be going before Hand Sentry, so might want to save this one for the second turn. You got Shapeshifter, which just tricks the enemy into attacking it, kind of like Loki's move, but not getting that offense down. Extra damage from the person that you're targeting, extra 200% damage, and then you're getting an evade. Next up on the skill list will be Sabretooth. Now this is a little tricky. You got 2 big moves that you could do on turn 1. Now, you could attack the primary target for 460% damage, huge. And if the target has a taunt, this ability deals an extra 80% piercing damage. So if you're getting someone like Drax, you're probably using Sabretooth and attacking them and dealing extra damage. And then if depending on the placement, you might attack everybody else for an additional 300%, 20%. This can be a big opening move, but this is also good. So I guess it's going to depend on the situation. Attacking primary target, 380% damage, applying bleed for 2 turns. So getting those bleed stacks again. Bleed with between Pyro and Sabretooth, just lots of bleeds. Deadly. And then you got that extend from Pyro as well for the bleeds. Chaining 4 to 5 targets, 330% damage. Now this one is a chain. You're not getting all the adjacent targets, so they have to line up right and go in a line. So you might want to start this at the end of the chain and move up. Now this one, applying bleed for 2 turns, so even more bleeds. It says if Magneto is an ally, this cannot be counterattacked. Counterattack breaks this chain. So counterattack breaks the chain, but if you attack the additional the target that is counterattacked, I don't think you're going to be attacked. And he's getting a lot of extra damage, of course, in a full Brotherhood team. After Sabretooth, we have Pyro in the turn order. This may get screwed up depending on how if he is attacked or not. So he may be going before Mystique or Sabretooth. Again, it depends if he is attacked. I think you have to open with this one where you're attacking the primary targets and adjacent targets for 180% damage. Apply 2 bleeds for 2 turns. Clear 2 positive effects from each target. If Magneto is an ally, this one looks to be the one right here where you're getting even more bleeds. So between Sabretooth and Pyro, just lots of bleeds applied on that first turn, and then Juggernaut's coming to clean up with immovable object. That's the way it would work. Now, if I was facing this team, Magneto's gonna go. My guys are gonna have blind. I hope they resist it. But if not, it is looking pretty bad for that first turn, because one of the things I like about S.H.I.E.L.D. is when we look at their speed, they're going before most characters in the game, and you're getting a lot of these guys doing their turns, removing speed, removing some of that speed bar. Now, if they're blinded, they're not getting any of that benefit, and it could be tricky, and you're not going to be gaining a lot off of that first turn. By the time they get their next turn, you could have a bunch of bleeds. You could have other people dead that just kind of screw up this team. So I think on a 5 versus 5 basis, this Brotherhood team will take out the S.H.I.E.L.D., which is what we all expected. Now, as far as raids, this is not designed as a raid team. They don't have that sustainability to keep going battle after battle after battle. But in a single battle, especially in a 5 versus 5 battle where you don't have multiple waves, this is going to be a very, very strong team. So Blitz, Arena, these guys are going to shine. I think they'll be very fun in the raids, although they might not be able to clear many successive nodes. But this team looks fun. To apply all those blades, all that damage on turn 1, I'm looking forward to using them. Let me know what you think, because it looks like you might have to spend a little bit of money on that first go round to unlock Magneto and really get the potential of this team, although Sabretooth will still be a little tricky. Those are my thoughts on this S.H.I.E.L.D., on that team, guys. Let me know what you think. They look to be very strong. They look to be fun. I like the character design. Look at all that metal chipping off his armor. Great attention to detail. Looking good. Good job on this update as well. Little tricky for Android users, but they eventually figured it out, and I like the rewards that they gave. I think they're very fitting. Popping up on the screen right now. Very, very generous and good stuff. Save squads. Awesome stuff. I'm liking this update, guys. So let me hear your comments on it. I want to know what you guys think. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate. Smash on that like button. And I do have one question for you before you go. What you gonna do, brother, when Valley Flying all the Valley Mages come down on you, dude? Valley Flying out.